You want to start first?
Yeah, welcome everyone. Episode 2 of Bishops and Wolves. I'm Jared Bishop.
And I'm Wolfs.
And our first episode was about starting something new and encouraging people to get going. We really started that episode with not a lot of preparation and recorded it and published it anyway. And I'm quite happy to say that a colleague of mine has been planning a podcast, and she's been motivated by our first episode to get going on that as well.
That's awesome.
So
that's a great success story.
Yeah. Which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And today, what we're talking about is
something else.
Is something else. Yeah. So Ikigai, passion and purpose. And where this came from, I mentioned Ikigai to Edwin at the end of last recording, and he was really interested in it. And since then, I've gone down a bit of a rabbit hole.
And a good rabbit hole, I hope.
Yeah, in a good way. I think. So if you Google image search Ikigai, you get a Venn diagram. With 4 circles: what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. And there's not really a literal translation in English with like a lot of these words, but reason for being, reason to wake up in the morning, that which makes life worth living. But what I've discovered in my introduction through this was during COVID, and where a lot of people were reassessing and going through the Great Resignation and that sort of thing. But there's a problem with that Venn diagram and that Western interpretation, because what I actually found through reading about it was that the Japanese interpretation, or the origin of the word and the mindset is really around mindfulness and the joy found in everyday moments, hobbies, relationships, and routines, and not necessarily tied to your career or grand achievements.
Yeah.
And so Meiko Kamiya, who's considered the mother of Ikigai, wrote a book that's never been translated to English, and that's led to this misinterpretation and this westernized version of it over time.
Nice.
But like according to her, though, to truly feel Ikigai, experience life satisfaction, change to grow, believe your life will unfold towards a brighter future, build and nurture meaningful relationships, freedom and autonomy, develop core identity, meaning, value in life.
Yeah.
Compared to this like Western interpretation with the Venn diagram, which was kind of developed in the last 15 years through, and I think it came out through a TED talk by Dan Buettner. The problem with that, and what I found with that, is that it kind of feels a bit too impossible to have this, like, find this center where you have this magical one thing that encompasses those 4 things. And
what are those 4 things?
So the 4 things being what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, what you can be paid for.
That's awesome. That's like your core center of the purpose or something, isn't it?
Yeah. But as I thought about this, because you go, well, if only I found my Ikigai, and it kind of leads to this flawed belief that there's only one solution.
Yeah.
And so you think, like, what's wrong with me? Like, why can't I find this? And it's this whole sort of like follow your passion ideal, do what you love, and you'll never have to work a day in your life.
Yeah. But that would be great, right?
Yeah. But the problem with that is that like that can lead to burnout and confusion if it doesn't feel easy. And it's really interesting the difference in the cultural interpretations, because Germans have a word for passion that is Leidenschaft, And
Nice.
in like translated literally, it's Leid means suffering, and Shaft means ability.
That doesn't
So
sound good.
so it's your ability to endure a hardship.
Mm.
Um, and I was talking to a German friend of mine about this, and he pointed out that the Passion of Christ is the like core example of potentially where that word came from. I didn't go that deep into it, but
Mm-hmm.
The suffering of the Last Supper and the
Yep.
crucifixion and that sort of process that Jesus went through um, is an example of passion.
Mm-hmm.
And passion is patience, and yeah, patience in a hospital, go through suffering. There was all this sort of connection through that
Yeah.
that he pointed out to me, and I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. So
So so with those four things, what you're good at, what you love, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for, it's really hard to find that little single point. What is Ikigai? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, yeah, I think so.
Because you
And
can love a lot of things. You can be good at a lot of things. And what the world needs is always changing, right? Because you could be loving to be an edu coach and you'd be really good at it, but sometimes the world doesn't need to be having an edu coach.
that's a brilliant point, that the world is always changing, and I want to
Yes.
come back to that
Okay,
because
sorry. I'm
and
way
and
far ahead.
yeah, totally. But it's really good because we do live in faster paced times, and
Mm.
quite often these words of like passion and purpose are interchangeable. But I did get curious about the difference of that. But before we get to that, I did want to ask you, like,
Mm.
in Dutch, like, is there a word?
Oh my God.
What's your word for passion, and is there a similar example?
We don't really have, not like Japanese for meaning. Um, no, we don't have anything like that. I don't think
Right.
so. No. I mean, we have a Dutch word for passion. It's called passie. It's like sort of passion fruit.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, no, we do have something that some of the Dutch may know. It's called gezellig, and it's a really strange word where you cannot find the literal translation of gezellig is coziness. It's something where you come in the center, you go to an area or you go to having a conversation where you think this is great. You want to stay there. It is so cozy. It is warm. It's a sort of feeling. I don't know if it's related to Ikigai, maybe completely not, but it is something that it is so nice that you want to stay in there.
Yeah,
Does
nice.
this make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I
So
think
that's
Ikigai is
yeah.
like I think Ikigai is more like a purpose. This is where you're meant to be in life. And gezellig is more like this is sort of a feeling that we want to go through. So that's a Dutch word to to think about like something similar.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that's quite a key difference between passion and purpose, is that like passion is the feeling and purpose is kind of the greater outcome.
Yeah.
And but these interpretations, if you compare like Ikigai is meant to like make you feel good, that's actually not true.
Hmm.
Like the process to get to that is like is full of hardship and suffering and
Hmm.
building resilience um, and being brave and
Just
making your
just
way through
is it
change.
sorry to interrupt. I
Mm.
was just thinking about when you were saying being brave and going to hardship. Is it more like just listening to your inner self a bit? Like I really want to do this, but the rest of the world is telling me to go another way, but I should listen to myself. Is that a little bit what you're talking about?
So there's a really good example, and I'm a big fan of a podcast series called Hidden Brain.
Mm.
They had an episode called The Passion Pill, which featured behavioral scientists, and he was telling this story about a high-end kitchen chef in New York who had achieved excellent success in his career, reaching this highly coveted position in this Michelin star restaurant. And despite all this personal achievement, he realized he wasn't feeling passionate about his work anymore. And he found it difficult to understand why. So he quit his job, which to me is a brave first step, right? And embarked on a journey traveling and went traveling through his trip. He took a camera with him and took photos and found that he loved taking photos. Great. And then when he was reviewing the photographs he was taking, he noticed a theme that a lot of his photos were moments of connection among people, particularly gathering and connecting over food. And so this reminded him of why he got into cooking to begin with, which was that his true passion for cooking wasn't about the pursuit of perfection and working at a high-end restaurant. It was about creating food for people to share, to connect over, to evoke memories and shared experiences. So it's this process of internal reflection and recognizing these patterns through following your passion that you realize what your core values are. And I think that's what you were touching on there, which was that discovering those core values is key to sustaining passion and not getting burnt out.
But it's also uncovering new things that you don't know, right?
Yeah, totally. And
because sorry, you go.
And I think it's particularly important in a high pace, in the high pace level of change that we experience in the world today, is that we need to acknowledge that the environment changes and we change. Therefore, like, why shouldn't our passion change as well? Like, why would we stay interested in the same thing, or why would and so taking that pause to reflect on that, I think, is like more important than ever in the world today. Because thinking back to like an author, I was reading a book called Slow Productivity by Cal Newport, and it was the author of, I'm having a mind blank, but it's the author of Sense and Sensibility and Jane someone.
Okay, that's all right. You can find it up. Maybe try to find it now.
Jane Austen.
Jane Austen. Okay.
Of course, Jane Austen. And
Cool.
he tells this process that she went through in terms of like, she led a very high class societal social life and busy domestic duties as well. However, in order to be truly productive and produce the great works that have transformed English literature, it wasn't until she lived in a quiet cottage with her like her core family that she was able to find the time to put into this work. And it did take time for her to do that as well. It wasn't like a quick thing. Similarly with Isaac Newton and the Principia, which is like one of the most important books in the history of science. That was something he did over decades. It wasn't something that he produced off a single eureka moment. You know, it was many things that came together, and it produced a legacy for him that's lasted decades, centuries.
So basically what you're saying, like, to find your Ikigai, to your inner voice, You have to try something new, which comes back on the first episode that we talked about. Just start doing things because you don't know if you're passionate about it. You have to try something new for some certain amount of time, and you have that inner feeling that you feel like, this is something I love. Do you start with like the passion first? Is that the trigger to follow the rest of the things? What the world needs, and sorry, what was the other one? Go back to what you're good at. Is the love what you're good at driven by the other things of the Ikigai? I would think so. I think like for me personally, I would like to do what I love to do, and then the other things will follow on this path to find out if I'm good at something because you need to do things for a long time, right? What you're saying. If you take pictures somewhere, well, you said this guy, this chef, does take pictures everywhere, and then find out his his new purpose. So we can change our purpose in this world of disruption. We should just figure out how by trying something new. What is scary?
Yeah, that's right. And there's that tension between internal reflection and action, right?
Yeah.
As well as that is that you can get stuck in a in a analysis paralysis if you don't act.
Yes.
But I really like what you said about because passion is the intersect between what you love and what you're good at. And so you feel good about doing what you love when you're good at it and you're succeeding, and then that becomes your profession, which leads to what you can be paid for.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at that Ikigai Venn diagram,
Mm-hmm.
I believe that if you start there and you land somewhere around the what the world needs and the intersect between the top three circles,
Mm-hmm.
because what you can be paid for is on the bottom. So
Yeah.
you've got the top three circles.
Well, this is nice to have. I think it would lead
Exactly,
automatically,
but
to be honest, because I think it leads automatically to that because people see that you're genuine, you follow your purpose, they see your passion, and
there
they
you go.
they
Yeah.
it's like sort of what's a Lord of Attraction because it's bounces off of you like I want what he has. So yes, we're gonna pay for it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
bingo.
know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly the conclusion I came to is that you should actually ignore the bottom circle because that will
Yeah.
come if you've sorted out the top three.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah. And
yeah.
that's what I found out in the business books as well. Like just, when you're selling a product, when you're starting your business, you need to love your product. If you don't love your product and fully 100% behind it, what you do, people will not buy it, and you will not follow the Ikigai probably guide because you're not loving it. So,
Mm. Yeah, yeah, totally.
mm,
Totally. And then
interesting.
and yeah, yeah. And then
Is
there's
there?
these
Oh, no, you go first.
I was going to move on, so if you've got another question.
No, no, I was just actually like I was thinking, all right, we know about the Ikigai, and now we should start with what you love, but how we can, for our listeners, how we can we implement what's the first? I was thinking about an action plan or some examples to really implement it. Do you,
Yeah.
do
Yeah,
you have
so
some ideas?
I I was going to go down a route of how this applies to coaching.
Okay, yeah, it sounds good.
So so you can do there are exercises around value identification, so using value cards or prompts to sort and prioritize your core values
Mm,
and reflecting on how they relate to your passions and strengths and like what the world needs. Um, because because as we know now, passion is more likely to be sustained if it emerges from your values.
mm-hmm.
There's also like through coaching conversations, you can ask people to share individual personal stories of times they've felt alive and fulfilled, which is a question I was going to propose to you now, Edwin.
Okay, here we go. Put me in the deep.
Yeah.
So
Um,
what's your question?
so tell me about a time where you felt most alive and fulfilled?
Well,
It can be
actually,
work, personal.
to be honest, that is right now. Um,
Yeah,
because I think I'm on the right path. I do what I love. I really like helping people. Um, I think I'm on the right track. You know, when you feel like you're doing something, you're like sort of buzzing and like have this energy inside. You're tired because you do something new and it's scary and you're sweating and um, yeah, you're you feel like you're on the right path. You feel like this is what I should do. So yeah, this
yeah,
podcast is a start of it. It
yeah,
was it was an idea in my head before, and I was just like, okay, let's do it.
yeah. And what is it that you
Mm.
what is it that excites you about that? So because we're cultivating a hobby, right? By doing
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
What is excited? It excites me around the feedback from people because how do you know if you're on the right path if other people maybe don't think you're on the right path, maybe you're on the wrong path. So feedback is always good to give you a boost, but without also feedback, it doesn't have to discourage you because some people have other opinions because you know the best, right? So it excites me that something doing something new, you know. It's that's really excites me and yeah, I don't know. It's hard to express.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. You did that's a good answer. And so what you can do, like that's a
Hmm.
now example, but
Yeah.
if you think back to other times where you felt excited, life fulfilled, where you've had the same feeling that you are now, and
Hmm.
reflect on that, and then identify the common themes and patterns across those experiences,
Hmm.
that's where you
Interesting.
can then draw those core values from.
So actually, you can have Ikigai on different areas because I know I like running. I like competing myself against some other people and be number one in some 5K race. But it's gonna be really hard on my age. But I feel really driven about it as well, like competing against other people. I don't know. Really interesting, this Ikigai stuff.
Yeah,
Makes me think and makes me think in a good way, to be honest.
nice, good.
Mm.
Yeah, and so I think that's like that's your starting point. And if you're coaching someone
Mm.
who has that Western interpretation of like follow your dreams and do what you
Mm.
love and you'll never have to work a day in your life and always, it is it's a good idea to like challenge that assumption um
Mm.
up front.
Yeah,
And
just try doing
because
it, right?
ultimately there's going to be some burnout in there, most probably, and some confusion. And a reason why that's there is because of this relentless pursuit
Perfection,
to perfection. Exactly.
because we're human beings. We're not supposed to be perfect.
Yeah. So breaking
But
that habit and then like managing those expectations around, it's not always going to feel easy. It's going to involve setbacks. There's going to be periods where you feel low motivation.
this,
Um,
I was just thinking. Sorry to interrupt you.
that's all right.
It is not a one-person journey, is it? I
How
mean,
so?
the Ikigai. I mean, the
Mm.
Ikigai. It's you, but you can have help from others to go through it, to support. That's what you said about the coaching conversations, right? So like if you want to pursue your passion and go into the Ikigai, there's always others that love to help you to get there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely confiding in others to talk through these things and like
Mm.
validating your experience and your your values and getting feedback from others is a good way to step outside of your own ego, I suppose.
Mm.
And like,
Mm.
yeah,
Mm.
like what are my strengths? What do you see as my strengths? Kind of
Mm.
thing. I've recently struggled with this as well because I've thought about. this, and I'd always get this feedback, and people want to keep me around at work, but I don't really understand why.
Hmm.
And if I think about what I'm good at, and I was quite explicit with a friend the other day, and she said to me, "I think you're good at bringing people together."
Hmm.
And because for me that seems obvious and easy, but for others
It's hard.
it's quite hard. And
Yes.
so I never really thought about it that way. What might seem obvious and easy to you, you don't really think about as a strength because it's easy.
It's obvious, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that feedback loop is really important.
But do you love it?
Yes, and yeah,
Well, here we
absolutely.
go. We have two
Yeah,
already. You're good at
yeah,
it, apparently, because sometimes you don't know your strengths and you love it, and
yeah,
then the rest will follow if you want to pursue it. And it's always your choice to pursue it, right? So
yeah. I'm getting paid
cool.
for it too,
Hmm.
and I think
I
the
th
world needs it.
Definitely. I think we are almost near a podcast. Or did you have some more things that you want to talk about?
So one last thing,
Okay.
purpose. So
Hmm.
if purpose, so passion, if passion is your focus on what you love and enjoy, and purpose extends to what you want. So like passion is like what you is the feeling, and then
Hmm.
purpose is like what you want to contribute to the world beyond yourself. And
Hmm.
so in order to get to purpose, it's this process of following following
The
your
heart.
passion and stopping to reflect and
Hmm.
pivot if things don't feel right.
Yeah.
Um,
Is it a endless pursuit of purpose? Because I was
and,
thinking, because when you were younger, when I was 18, I had no idea where direction I wanted to go. So I tried little things.
mm,
And from there on, by trying little things, I found out that I love to travel. Then I found out by traveling that I like new experiences. And then from the
mm,
traveling, like the liking new experience, I like sharing my new experience to others. And that got me all the way where I am right now. So it is that purpose, endless purpose when you're passionate you have to find out to I think to go from here. This is all the directions I want to go, and then go slowly to a narrow thing, what I think you call Ikigai. Is that correct?
yeah, and I think what you're describing as well is that like the first half of our careers, we do go wide,
Yeah.
and you kind of build this portfolio of skills, and then mid-career transitions kind of narrow you down, and you become more focused and more on that purpose. I think that's a really good point.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
So maybe
So,
go forward, finding out Ikigai. It will lead. So research also shows
mhm.
leads to better mental health, lower risk of cardiovascular disease, depression, reduced anxiety, overall happiness,
That's
resilience, and
that
grit to
sounds
carry
really
on.
good. Actually, that can bring people from not knowing where to go to actually listen to your inner soul, inner thoughts to happiness. So
Yeah.
it's just a sort of chain domino effect of chain reaction that you're actually on the right path. Really,
Yeah.
really interesting episode, Jared. Thank you for I think it's really good. Yeah, I like it.
So
I think it could help a lot of
yes.
people to actually get that little push of going to pursue some of their dreams or hopes and dreams that they're all back in the mind that like, oh, I really want to do this, I love it, but I just put
Yeah.
it off for such a long time. And like Jared, in my probably opinion is just do it. Like Nike slogan, just do it.
Just
It's
do
just
it.
it's
Yeah.
such a It's such a powerful phrase. Any takeaways? Any takeaways?
My head's full of analogies. And so I was driving. I recently bought a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, and it's got regenerative braking. So when you're going down a hill, it charges the battery, right? And
Yes.
then anyway, I didn't drive it. I didn't drive it on my way into work today. I was in my petrol car, and take your foot off the accelerator and you're coasting along. It's still using petrol, right? So you're slowing down, but you're still using gas.
Yes.
Whereas in an electric car or plug-in hybrid, when you take your foot off the accelerator, you're actually recharging. You're putting energy back into the battery. And so my takeaway is be like an EV, not like a petrol engine.
This is great. Awesome. Thank you so much.
That's a whole other podcast.
That's a whole other podcast. So talking about next podcast, what's the next one? Are we gonna talk about how to getting things done?
Getting things done framework, yeah.
For our listeners or like for our viewers, because it's also YouTube, follow us there. We are open for suggestions. We can dive into any topics that you think we should talk about. Happy for any feedback. Yeah. I feel like we're starting broad, and we're gonna narrow. We're gonna over time. That's the same. We're just trying things, and we can find our Ikigai as a podcast.
Ikigai.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love it. This is great.
Also,
this is great. Thank you so much, Jared.
Thank you. It was good.
Thank
you.
you.
It was good going down rabbit holes.
It's really great. Thanks, listeners, and see you next time.